Welcome everybody to the X Factor podcast. Today we're coming at you right out of a Tuesday morning, afternoon, night, anywhere you are. We're coming in right with you with another great episode of the X Factor podcast, and today we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw from last night. I did say on Twitter I was going to talk about more than just that, but I had no chance to watch any of the playoff games from NHL or NBA. I knew Jamal Murray hit a game winner against the Lakers. I know the Knicks got a game winner off the 76ers. But I will get back to I will start talking about the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs tomorrow on the channel, which will also include the NXT review. So there's more, and it'll all be in one video. So stay tuned for that. It won't be in separate videos, so it'll all be in one video, different thumbnail. So, and also to make sure to follow the Twitter and the TikTok if you like any more of sports content coming from me. The descriptions and all that will be at the end of the video, and it'll also be in the description below. Plus, also the weekly schedule will be in the description below. If not, just go on the Twitter and it'll be right there. So let's get right into it. Start off the show. And to start off the show, I thought this Monday Night Raw was not the best, but it was watchable. It was a watchable show. But it wasn't their best episode. It wasn't their worst one. It was an alright episode to start with. And we started off with Jay, and we started off with Damian Priest. Pretty much hyping up their match for Backlash. And Damian Priest as a champion, just right now it feels weird. We're in that transition where you don't have Seth as champion, you don't have Drew as champion, you don't have Roman as champion, so everything just feels weird and out of place right now. But I feel like once we start getting more into his title reign, I feel like he'll start more looking like then he's a champion than just another guy with a title. Because with Damian with the title, because when I look at wrestlers, I can look at them and know if they're if you can imagine them with the championship, then they're a champion. They're a good pure champion. If you don't see them with a championship, to me it takes me a little bit while to get in there and be used to them as a champion. And Damian, he's gonna get a little bit because it doesn't feel right. Because we've been through so many. He at one point he was a mid card guy to a tag guy, and now he's the guy on Monday Night Raw. And it's all now out without Rhea Ripley, so Judgment Day is gonna be. It's gonna be a sink or swim for Judgment Day. And based off what we saw on Monday, they're sinking. So it's gonna be very interesting to see where Judgment Day goes, but I would be more hyped up with this match, but after, Jey Uso gave me, his match against Jimmy was not the best. And then after that, and then get him having a title match, it still worries me about how this match is going to go. Because then if you start, after that match, you start realizing, you start thinking, about the good ways that can go, the good bad ways that can go. And and for the longest time, Jimmy was never a singles guy. He was always a tag guy. And then the more we keep getting into it with him, the more you start realizing that he's just a regular tag guy. And if he didn't have the Yeet character, who knows where he'd be sitting with Jimmy right now, because Jimmy's not a singles guy either. He's a tag guy. He always has. And that's not bad by any means. If anyone wants to take that the wrong way, they can. But Jay, I think it's apparent that it's finally come to realize that he's not a main event guy right now, and he's not really of a tag guy. He needs to change a couple things of his, and Yeet, as much as we all Yeet, at some point it's gonna get boring with the fans. It's gonna get boring. He needs to make a couple changes up. And it's hot right now. He's hot right now. But there's still just a little bit of that, wondering of if he could be champion, if he is champion, how would it go? Because he's Not, great in the ring. He's okay, he's good, but he's not like main event level. And if he didn't, like I said, if he didn't have the Yeet character or the Yeet little persona going on, who knows where he'd be sitting with Jimmy right now, wondering what's next for Bloodline stuff. So, like I said, I'm gonna have to see. It's either gonna be this match is gonna be one of those cases where it's either gonna be a great match, it's gonna be a bad match. There's no in between of how this match is gonna go, and we've seen matches like these two go on for multiple times throughout the whole stuff with Judgment Day and Cody Rhodes and all that. So it's like we've seen this thing before. And like I said, that's why I can't wait for the draft, because I feel like we're getting the same match week after week after week, and the same stuff keep happening week after week after week, and it's getting stale. And I'm just thankful that they're, getting this draft going, because another week of Imperium and New Day, I might just lose it on somebody, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. Coming up next, it was DIY versus Awesome Truth. They came out, New Day, or Awesome Truth came out to the DX Titantron, to the DIY DX Titantron type, and the DX gear, kind of. And Awesome Truth came out. They had a little bit of a... they're singing like they always do. They came out. They had a pretty good match. I'm a little disappointed that DIY did not win. I think, it's just one of those cases where you don't... Like, DIY, they've had so many title opportunities in the last couple of months, and they just keep losing and losing and losing. And I'm sorry, like, Miz and Truth had their moment. Truth had his moment at WrestleMania, but if you really sit there and say that Awesome Truth deserved those titles more than DIY, the Creed Brothers, New Day, Imperium, there's other tag teams I'm missing, but if there's any way or chance that you think that Awesome Truth deserved those titles more than them, then you really need to consider yourself, dumb, because how can you just sit there and you gotta rethink about who you work with in a creative aspect, which I'll talk about that here in a little bit with some of these releases that happened, which I'll get that here in just a second. So I think the wrong winners won. I think DIY should have won. It was the right moment for him. How Triple H booked them like they're the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ over there in NXT, and now I don't know what they've really done with them, if I'm being honest with you. They don't win. They win opportunities, but they just don't win the titles, which is stupid, because there ain't no way in any day that DIY is ever losing to Awesome Truth. If we're being real, if you would go up to someone and ask them who would win, 99% of people would say DIY wins, and people would only say Awesome Truth because of the R-Truth. And Miz is partially TNA bound, so like I said, it's just, to me, it's very frustrating, because it's like, what do you do next with them? Who knows? They've had so much, and now they're already teasing heel turns with Ciampa, so it's like, what the fuck? Like, just, and they didn't have some creative way to turn heel on people instead of just having them lose a bunch of matches, because that's what happened for New Day and Imperium. New Day and Imperium, they had a match. Gunther started out the segment talking about he has entered King of the Ring, and I don't understand how you just get yourself in there. There should be qualifying matches. That's what makes King of the Ring King of the Ring. You qualify your way into there. But Gunther, he has a strong case, though. He held the Intercontinental title for 666 days as champion. He beat nearly everybody on the roster. So, can't really blame on that, but I'm hoping that, and then Xavier Woods comes out talking about how he is getting himself in the King of the Ring. And Xavier Woods, the only thing he has is he was former King of the Ring, which I honestly forgot about it. So, like I said, they need to have qualified matches for these matches. And that's one way having the qualified matches helps you get through the show and format the show. Otherwise, you're just sitting there with 3 tag matches in one show, in a 3-hour show, and a bunch of bullshit in between, which is what we had tonight. Um, New Day ended up beating Imperium in a solid matchup. Um, and then Liquid Kaiser turned on Giovanni Vinci afterwards. Made no sense at all on why they did it. There was no reason, or there was no reason to, in my opinion. And if they're just doing it to get Giovanni Vinci, and they bury Giovanni Vinci, I'm sorry, they're making the wrong decision, because Giovanni Vinci is one of those underrated guys in the ring. And so is Liquid Kaiser, but if they're, they gotta look at both guys. They both should have been multi-time world champions on the main roster. They should have already had championship gold around their waist, and they don't have it, which is makes you think, how it went for the Booker side of things. That tells you what the Bookers thinks, and I still think, based off last year, Triple H was one of the best bookers out there. But when it comes to building certain divisions, he's having a hard time with, which I feel like we never got with those NXT days. But Imperium, they should have championship gold, and they don't. And if it leads to Ilya Dragunov showing up at part of Imperium, which I have a feeling it's going to, because they were supposed to do that last year, and the whole Vince stuff cut it off, then in my opinion, Ilya Dragunov should not be the right man hand or the goon for Gunther. Last time I checked, Ilya Dragunov has beaten Gunther. I'm pretty sure he has more wins against Gunther in the matchups between them. I think Ilya has more wins than him in that. So knowing that he's probably gonna be one of their guys with them, doesn't really sit right with me. If they're just gonna have Liquid Kaiser and Gunther together, I don't really know what to think about that either. Knowing on how slim the tag division is at this point, because they just released Jinder Mahal, Sangha, and Veer, which I'll get into here now. Friday, they released Xia Li, Ixon Quinn, or Zion Quinn, whatever his fucking name was. Veer, Sangha, and Jinder, and Von Wagner. They just released Von Wagner today. Jinder, I don't understand why Jinder was released. They literally were at a point where Jinder was, he was having that match with Seth, and then next thing you know, you don't see from him again. and you can't really say it's Jinder's fault, because they did everything Jinder wanted to do. And one of the things I kind of feel weird about this is how, in this world, in the year 2024, do you have Indians or people that don't live in the U.S. stereotype hating the U.S. characters? We're not in the fucking 80s anymore. That is about as worse as when I heard when they were going people telling Brock to become a fucking Russian. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you guys want these guys to help promote India and all this, but yet you're not willing to push them and only give them characters that fucking 1980s are worth and stereotypical shit. Like I said, that is one of those things that you need to, that's the only thing creative you got, then you need to look around about who you put in your creative situations. NXT does better when it comes to, you would have put Jinder in NXT as a singles guy, he'd be amazing. You put Veer and Sangha there, they'd be amazing. At last year when they were there, it didn't really go well in their favor. They didn't even really do anything, and they got drafted up there to Raw. They didn't do nothing. And they just did the stereotypical Indian characters, which we're not in the fucking 80s anymore. There's no reason to fucking do it. NXT really has, in my opinion, has outperformed Raw and SmackDown with a lot of things when it comes to character development and keeping momentum on people. That has been one of the bigger keys that NXT has done over certain people, over the main roster. If that's a way of telling me that NXT has more creative people than the main roster, then that is fucking embarrassing. Like, that is embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie to you. But like I said, I wish them all, good in their future. I wish them all good. Hopefully, I expect to see I expect to see Xia Li probably in TNA or Stardom at some point. Jinder, TNA maybe shows up, NWA maybe, and it's not an insult to Jinder. That's just some of the smaller companies that would like to have Jinder on their roster. Hell, even Ring of Honor would probably love to have Jinder there as a heel, and he can work as a heel. And then Veer and Sangha, who are a monster tag team, Ring of Honor, TNA, NWA, indie promotions, they would love to have guys like them two around. Von Wagner's another tall guy that TNA or NWA would like. And Quinn, I don't know what to fucking say. They did nothing with him. He was literally nothing through his whole time. So, like I said, it's one of those weird situations. Those people that they even try to do anything with. And if they try to, they were already ruined because of Vince and all that with Xia Li and all that. So, I wish them the best, and hopefully we see them in the future in other companies. And yeah, so getting right into it a little bit more. Drew McIntyre comes out, talking about the stupid briefcase stuff, and he was only champion for 5 minutes. And one of the things that catches my eye that nobody else I don't think has really talked about, that has caught their eye as of late, is Drew McIntyre talking about the Money in the Bank. Nobody seems to talk about it, so I'm gonna talk about it. So the whole thing with Drew has sorry. The whole thing with Drew has been he's been a hypocrite through this whole thing. Everything that he said to people he's been right about. But he's also being a hypocrite. He had Bloodline helped him and stuff and all that. And then you keep going with Judgment Day and all this. And now he sits there and says he doesn't like the concept of Money in the Bank. Well, it's funny he says that, because they're heading to Money in the Bank in a couple months. And like I said, everything he said he's been a hypocrite about. He didn't like the Bloodline getting in for his matches. He interfered with Cody's match. He still took advantage. People get involved in his match that he didn't like. They'd still get involved in his match. So here is what I think is happening. And we can come back to this after Money in the Bank. Drew is going to win Money in the Bank. And he's going to do the same thing to Damian Priest. Because that's just a way of thinking about it. His whole thing, he's been hypocritical about everything. He's been a hypocrite about everything. And if you tell me that he goes into this and doesn't win the Money in the Bank and doesn't do anything that I'm thinking that it's happening, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking. Because storyline-wise, that makes sense. Storyline-wise, it makes sense him might win Money in the Bank and then using the briefcase against Damian Priest. Turn babyface on Damian Priest. I know they're being Cardiff Wales. Maybe he has a match with Damian Priest there and he loses, or him and Punk, who knows. I don't know what they're doing through that time. But knowing that how Drew has been the last couple of months, that's probably the most accurate way to go. And then, later in the promo, Sheamus comes out, pretty much trying to get Drew out of his head about, being delusional. And pretty much told him the reality of it was a one-armed CM Punk kicked your arse. And Drew goes, well, ever since, before you got injured, it was always banger after banger after banger. But ever since you've been back, it's been burger after burger after burger. And the crowd had a huge reaction for that one. Like, that was. I even had a little bit of a chuckle at that one because, damn, I know how everyone, was looking at Sheamus after last week. He didn't look the fittest, but so weren't half of the people that watch wrestling. So Sheamus, who, and by the way, in the last 6 days since the last time we've seen him, he looks like he already lost a couple pounds. He's been going at it in the gym, so he looks great. Who knows? Maybe in the next couple weeks he's already back to his old form. But he comes out, and then he comes out and or he didn't come out. He comes out and says, I can lose the weight. You can't lose stupid, which was another good one coming from Sheamus. Like, these two are, again, and before that, Drew was even, Sheamus was breaking character about the burger after burger line, which was funny. And then Drew goes on, Sheamus tries telling you gotta, stop, gotta stop this. And Drew was naming off things that the people in the back were saying about him. Pillsbury, Doughboy, Flubberman. There's a couple other ones I can't remember. And then Drew told him that he was going to watch his back, and then Shinsuke comes out. Shinsuke and Sheamus had a match. Very good match. I was into that match a lot. Sheamus ended up with a win with a bro kick. And if this is going to lead to Drew and Sheamus at Backlash, I'm all for it. They haven't announced many matches. I think they have announced 2 matches so far. Potentially 3, I think. Or I think they have 2 to 3 matches I think they've already announced. I know they have the 2 WWE title matches. After that, I don't think they have announced anything else, which I feel like we're going to get. I think we're getting a triple threat with Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany. Pretty sure we're going to get a women's tag title match. And I'm pretty sure after tonight we're going to get a Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed because Bronson Reed took him out backstage. So I think those are some of the matches that we're getting. So that's going to be some good matches coming out. Chad Gable comes out. Same theme song and everything, which I feel like they're going to be changing that in the upcoming weeks. Sami Zayn's, or Chad Gable's in a suit. Alpha Academy, the rest of them, they're not in suits. He comes out and talks about, the moment that Sami had should have been his. And he was taken, and he brought up some valid points, though. Sami Zayn put the title in front of him before he shook hands with him. Chad Gable did his thing. He shook hands, pointing the finger at him. And then he went over to his wife and hugged her, which is what Chad wanted to do. And Chad lost it and went after Sami. So, Chad Gable's reasoning, it's really well on why he did what he did. And then he, said he's wasted all of his time training losers. And then he ended up going up and cooking the whole Alpha Academy. Calling Tozawa a loser. Calling Maxine dumb as rocks. And calling Otis the biggest disappointment he's ever seen. So that was very interesting. And then he goes out and says, from now on we win. You're going to help me win my Intercontinental Championship. And then, he wants all of them to tell him to say, got it, we got it. And Otis said it first. Chad Gable goes, what's that? What's that? And Otis goes, we got it. And the crowd did not like that at all. Because now it's just like Chad Gable's taken all of them to, he's bringing them up to higher standards. And his reason was that, they all need to hear the truth. And that's one of the truths. And Chad Gable, as a heel already, has really gotten me excited. With the suit, hell, he talks a lot better on the mic as a heel than he does a babyface. Like, he's so well liked, and now he's a heel, and now he can talk a hell of a promo. This heel turn is going to make him become world champion in the next year. I guarantee it. If it doesn't, it's another one of those disappointments that Triple H has done with heels, like Shinsuke. Shinsuke turned heel. Where's he at now? He's losing to Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov in the past couple of weeks. and just he keeps losing and losing and losing. So that is going to be a very fun heel that I'm going to be looking for to is heel Chad Gable, and he could be one of the best in WWE in the next couple months, just based off how he is as a heel. Santos Escobar, Ricochet, or JD McDonough faced Andrade and Ricochet. That match was alright. That was the third tag match we had in this show. So it was an alright match. Andrade is looking more of a star he's getting up there in the WWE field of ranks over the past couple of weeks. I can feel the crowd slowly starting to get behind him now. You get him up just a little bit more higher, he'd be ready to go for some championships. Dominic's hurt. Dominic has an injury now, so that's now Rhea and Dominic who both have injuries. I know backstage there was a little thing of Dominic staring and Liv Morgan staring at each other. And if they're going with another mommy Dom thing with Liv and Dom, not really interested into it. I don't know what's the obsession of the mommy stuff. So hopefully that's not the case, but Judgment Day is falling apart. JD and them lost, and Damian Priest tells them that he doesn't need them, they need him. And you can definitely tell that he's stepping up as part of the Judgment Day. He's stepping up big time because he is coming out there and he's holding everyone accountable for their losses, which he hasn't done that really in the last couple of months. Like with JD, yeah, but now he's getting it with everyone. And I feel like now we with Finn's gonna get involved in. For him and Damian, it's just gonna get ugly quick. And like I said, by the time Rhea Ripley comes back, Judgment Day is gonna fall apart. So, and them falling apart is gonna be very fun to watch because I think we've been waiting for this one for a while. The main event was the Women's World Title Battle Royal. Becky was the first one to come out. I think there was a 14 women battle royal, which is weird for wrestling. In wrestling, the way I've always seen it, the odd numbers are actually even, and the even numbers are actually the odd ones. Like, if you have a 14 women battle royal, it doesn't feel right. You need 15. There's 29 people in a Royal Rumble, you need 30. To me, that's just always how I felt about, how some, that's always felt about the numbers game. And I know 30 is an even number, but especially with the 15 men battle royals, you need 15. It has to be 15. And like with gauntlet matches, you need 5. You don't need 6, 7, or 8. You need 5. 5's the best. So they came out. The battle royal was alright. It didn't really get really good until Piper Niven and Nia Jax went out in the back or in the ringside area where Becky got put through a table by Nia. Chelsea Green cheated to get, refs didn't see, but she got eliminated. She came back in the ring. Refs did not see it. And it came down to Rhea, Becky, and Liv, which I feel like everyone, storyline wise, it makes sense for Liv to win. And then they come out, Rhea tries to go for a stink face, or not a stink face, the bonsai drop, and then she gets eliminated. And then it's down to Rhea and Liv, Liv and Becky, and Liv hits Becky with Code Breaker, and then Becky comes in back with Liv with a manhandle slam and wins the match. So Becky is your new women's champion, world women's champion, and people are Twitter has just exploded over the last couple hours about it. And here's my thing about it: Liv Morgan, and I have seen so many things about people talking about. People will make such obnoxious opinions on Liv Morgan. I don't even think half of the people that say what they say believe it. They're just saying it for fucking numbers now. Because I seen one group of people on that have a podcast talking about Liv Morgan being like the Cowboys. That was the most craziest thing I've ever heard in my lifetime. Um, but they're also the same ones that sat there and said that she doesn't even belong in the title picture. So, and to the people that just don't like her because of her fan base, fuck off. That's not that's to me that's a stupid reason on why you should hate someone or why you should hate something. It's because of their fan bases. Like when it comes to sports, it's different because sport wise, when you got rivalries, you got rivalries. You're supposed to hate them. Liv Morgan isn't even supposed to be hate. She's supposed to be a good person, and all she's getting is negative because of her fan base, which is stupid. Liv Morgan is a future champion, even though she's already been champion. She is one of the stars in WWE, and you have to face it whether you like it or not. And Liv should have won that match, in my opinion. Liv should have storyline wise. It makes sense. Liv is the one who took her out. She needs to win. Becky could have stayed on her vacation and did not have to do a damn thing. But they brought her back. She won the title. To me, she didn't need it. And like I said, it all comes down to storyline reasoning. Storyline reasoning? What the fuck does Becky gotta do? Like, what is she supposed to do? Not really a damn thing. I know if the only way I could have seen, except her win the championship is because how fucking awful the Raw Women's Division is. And hopefully that draft changes it. But other than the draft's happening in a week. And if none of this leads up to Liv Morgan winning a championship off Becky or Rhea, then to me they've fucking ruined Liv Morgan's momentum, revenge tour, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion. And I always hear the term, save it for the right moment. I am fucking tired of hearing save it for the right moment. The right moment people always think of when it comes to the right moment is SummerSlam or WrestleMania. Why can't you have good moments at other pay-per-views? Jeff Hardy had one at a good pay-per-view. Hell, you can have good moments on Raw. Kevin Owens did, winning the Universal Championship. Like, you can keep going on and on about how many people have had good moments. Hell, Jinder Mahal, Backlash becoming his first championship win. AJ Styles winning off, on a run Monday Night Raw. AJ Styles win a championship at No Mercy, I believe, or one of those pay-per-views, his first one. Like, you can't just save it for the big pay-per-views. You can't just wait for the big pay-per-views to happen to save them, because that's... And I think the best way to put it is what Swerve Strickland said last night on the AEW Media Scrum. You don't want to wait for the right moment. You want to wait while the iron's hot. You want to wait for... you can't just wait for the right time, because injuries happen. People go ahead of you in the line for the titles. People change their opinion on you. Like... And that's why Swerve won the title, because the iron was hot and it was the right time to do it. Liv Morgan to win... They would have had an amazing moment with Monday Night Raw, with Liv winning the championship. We don't get many great moments on Raw anymore, because they always want to save it for these other shows. And that's one way to, in my opinion, and it might sound silly to, stay away from the, some of the viewerships. Like, that's one way to bummer off a show, because if you're going to have a title match, and they're not going to win, then what the fuck's the point of watching when you know that they're not going to win? Like, I get it's still wrestling in a different way, anything could happen, but they could have had one of those better moments like Mankind did on Monday Night Raw, and boom, win a championship. And like I said, storyline-wise, it just makes sense. But let's see how it goes. Like I said, these are just my first impressions on Becky winning the title. So anything could happen in the next couple months. Liv could win the title off her. Rhea could come back and Liv takes her spot or something. Who knows? But for these next couple of months, like I said, if Liv doesn't end up with a championship, I'm gonna fucking lose it. And if it ends up with Liv getting hurt and having to lose time, then I'll come back to this and I'm like, that's why you don't wait for the moment to happen. You take the moment at the right time and when the iron's hot. Plain and simple. But that is all I have for y'all today. Tomorrow, we'll have some NXT We'll have some NHL, some NBA playoff talk to talk about. We also have the NBA draft or the NFL draft coming up. I believe I'll have that Wednesday, or Thursday. I'll probably have it Wednesday. The NFL draft mock draft will be on a separate video because it's going to be a longer video to talk about. And then, of course, the post first round review will happen on Friday, including and if y'all want to hear, I will also talk about TNA and Ring of Honor. I watched them as well, so if y'all want to hear me talk about that, I'll go right ahead. I talk about NXT, Raw, SmackDown, AEW, Collision. Even though I haven't done Raw and Collision and all that in forever, but we're getting back to it. The grind is coming through. So stay blessed. Remember the descriptions for my Twitter and the TikTok will be after me saying bye. And stay blessed. Have a good day. And bye.